once again. I'm here to ask you a couple of questions, right? Why do you find all these religious organisations headed up by old fucking people who have never done shit in their fucking lives? They never died for a god. They never, went out there and, became a supreme, what was it they call it in the Muslim world? I can't remember the name for it. Martyr. Yeah, that's it, martyr. Why didn't these old fuckers who are telling you to go martyr yourself, why weren't they martyrs? Why did God choose them not to martyr themselves? Because God didn't choose them to martyr themselves. They chose a lifestyle where they could get you to go out and kill yourself, martyr yourself, for their aggrandizement. You know what I mean? Is that a word? Yeah, aggrandizement. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but you're aggrandizing them. You're making them look huge. The more people who die in their name, the huger they become. As a name in the religious sort of like sect that they are, part of. It's like the Pope. Why did the Pope become such a huge name? Because basically the Emperor of Rome, who owned the whole fucking world, became the Pope. That's what happened, back then. The Emperor of the world became the Pope. And the Pope has tried to hold on to that sort of name ever since. But he's just basically an old man who casts prayers and spells, you know what I mean? That's all he is. The Pope is just an old man who stands on a balcony and makes vocalised spells. And when you think about it, the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, and any church has spent their whole, history burning people at the stake for voice and spells, you know what I mean? But that's all he does. He goes out there and he goes, oh my Dana, and it's like, he does all that shit, and it's like, and he's blessing you. But basically, it's a vocal spell. He's voicing a vocal spell. He's basically the thing that he hates. He's basically the thing that they burn people for. The church has burned people for doing what the Pope does every time he goes into that Vatican fucking square and does it to the people. So, what, isn't he a witch? I'm wondering about this. Why isn't he a witch, but anybody else that does it is a witch? What, he's got some special dispensation? Right, God gave him that special dispensation, but the only people who tell you he got that special dispensation is the people in the big, gigantic fucking Vatican house behind him. You know what I mean? So, yeah. How do you know it's not Satan behind him? How do you not know that you are there in a fucking square doing Satan's work? How do you know that? Or not know that? How the fuck can you know or not know it? And what about the Muslims? As far as I believe, it's supposedly to, being a Muslim is a faith of life. It's a faith of belief in life, and it's a belief in peace. It's a belief in, discussion, discourse. I mean, all the things that supposedly the English fucking Parliament and English fucking education system is all based on was discourse. You discuss. You debate with people and then you come to a conclusion. I think that's where the Muslims started, but now it's like, well, I will tell you what I believe about Allah, and if you don't believe, you're an infidel and you should be killed, you should be stoned to death, and you should be bombed, you know. And I'm thinking, well, that's not what I believe that the Muslim belief is, and I'm sure most Muslims don't believe that, and I'm sure most Christians, most Catholics don't believe what the Pope says is a dictate, but basically that's what your religion is driving you into. And there are a lot of people who believe that, no, if you don't believe the dictate, you're fucked. You deserve to burn, just like the infidels we are going to gut and kill and bleed. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, so where are we going with this religion thing? Well, I'll tell you where we're going with it. It's fucking time for it to end. It's time for it to be gone, and it's time for us to all, understand what the prophets were supposedly saying to us, which was, believe what you believe, keep it to your fucking self, and don't demand other people believe what you believe, because that really is the essence of religion. If you believe something, what does it matter to you if someone else believes it? It shouldn't. And that's what all your prophets are saying. Your Catholic prophets, your Protestant prophets, and your Muslim prophets. What they're saying to you is, if you believe enough, it doesn't matter what your neighbour believes. But what you need to understand is, if someone from a mountain down the road attacks your village, your neighbour next door is your closest friend, no matter what he believes, no matter his ideology. He could be an atheist, a sodomist, it wouldn't matter. So long as when the people from the next village attack you, he comes out there with his sword and kills those fuckers and protects you and your family and him and his family, and that's what he expects from you. That's what the Bibles teach us. Not just the Christian Bible. The Muslim Bible teaches us that as well. Your neighbour is your closest friend. You know him the best. You share what you have with him the best. But if you think someone from across the sea, or across the fucking mountain, or across the plain, no matter what is going on, if you think they think more of you than your neighbour, then you're a fool. And all the Bibles say that. The Quran, the Bible, you know what I mean? The fucking futon, all that shit, all tell you the same. The only person you can really trust is the guy next door. Do you know why? Because when your fucking road outside burns, when your fields burn, when your house burns, most people coming through burning, they don't give a shit what flag you've got outside. They don't give a shit what medallion you've got on your neck. All they care about is, yeah, I can go and kill without fucking they tell me not to. Because most of those people coming through, they're killing. They don't give a shit if you're Muslim. They don't give a shit if you're fucking Christian. Yeah, if they're a Muslim killer, they'll kill the Christian first. But if you got a beautiful daughter and the Christian doesn't, they're going to kill you and rape your fucking Muslim, teenager. That's what they're going to do that. If you get gold and your Christian neighbour doesn't, they're going to kill your Christian neighbour, yeah, but they're going to kill you. And then they're just going to say, well, he looked like a Christian. I think he was a Christian. He spent too many years in the Christian world. They're not going to give a fuck about you. Alright, so please, Muslims, Christians, anywhere you live, You can't trust anybody except your neighbour. You can only trust the people that live with you every day, see you every day, say hello every day. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your you know what I mean, your neighbourness. You know what I mean. The fact that if I come and I've run out, can you give me some milk? I've run out, can you give me some salt? That is being human. It's not being Muslim. It's not being Christian. That's bullshit. It's about being human. You protect your own, and your own is your community. It's the person next door. It's the person above. It's the person down the street. It's the person of your village, and it doesn't matter their belief. You're not supposed to ask who they believe in, and even your God will tell you that. You don't judge. I will be the final judge. It's not your job to judge. Your job is to make sure that your neighbour is safe, and your neighbour will then look after your safety. You will together protect your community. And it's not about Muslims being safe. It's not about Christians being safe. It's not about atheists being safe. It's not about fucking black people being safe or white people being safe. It's about the people who live next door to each other being safe. You look after each other, because only in doing that can you actually be safe. Who's to say the people who move in hating the Christians and kill the Christians won't turn around then and say, oh, by the way, you've got lots of wine and cheese in your cellar. We want that. Give us it. And you say, well, we need that to survive the winter. Yeah. Well, we need it now. We need it now to fight the Christians. And if you don't give us it, you're not a good Muslim. And then they turn around and say, oh, you've got a nice looking daughter. My soldiers need to, sow their oats. And you've got a beautiful daughter. It wouldn't harm you to let us use your daughter for a small amount of time. Yeah. And the Christians are the same. It wouldn't abuse God's law to abuse, to use your Christian daughters for a small amount of time. It's only you who have a view of her virginity being something that's worthwhile, but God doesn't view it that way, because if you read the Bible, God doesn't view chastity as a good thing. In fact, the more fucking you do, the more sex you have, the better for your religion, because it procreates and spreads the seed of God's will. So please do not think that you can turn around and use religion as some form of defence of why you think this way, because it's the secretive law that says that you can't take a person's home over, you can't steal their food, you can't rape and use their women. It's the secular system that says that that's illegal, not the religious law. Read your Bible. Read your Bible. Read your religious book. There's no defence from the king's troops going through your town and using your women, stealing your food, taking your horses, living in your house, telling you to look after and clean. There's no laws against that in the Bible. But there is laws against that in the secular states, which is why secularism is growing. Because we realise that your idea of well, God wouldn't allow that to happen, and then it does happen, and then you hate your God, and then you say, oh well, I love my God again. Well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Secularism has laws laid out, restrictions, regulations. That's what being in a fucking society means. Having regulations, laws.